The collision of two traveling souls. Traveling, it leaves you speechless, then turns you into a storyteller. Ibn Battuta. 1997. Following Mark's departure, I adjusted to living alone in the rustic cabin at the back of the village. When I wasn't diving, you could find me stationed at the dive shop's entrance, engaging in conversations with potential students, trying to persuade them to join my courses. Sitting on the rail, I observed a group of French people strolling past the dive shop. They eventually settled in at the beachfront bar across the road to watch the setting sun, and I couldn't help but feel a rush of adrenaline. "Ooh, the Frenchies are here," I exclaimed to myself. I had completed 2 teach-yourself French books that I had purchased in Australia, and I needed to practice my conversational skills. I strained to overhear their conversation. "Bonjour," I called out, waving to them enthusiastically and flashing a bright smile as I turned to fully face them, my feet dangling outside the ledge where I was sitting. "Bonjour," one of the men responded with a curious smile. "Where are you from?" he asked me in French, his tone filled with genuine interest. "You have a cute accent," he continued, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "I'm from Montreal," I replied, attempting to mimic his accent. "But I grew up speaking English and I want to improve my French," I added, my voice tinged with a mix of determination and nervousness as I struggled to recall the words. From there, a flurry of exchanges ensued about the places we had lived, the people we had met, and the adventures we each had. "I was a shepherd in Burkina Faso," he told me, his voice tinged with nostalgia. "I also hunted with the local Maasai huntsmen. They called me the White Hunter." He explained that he came to retire on this tropical island paradise. His words painted a picture of idyllic tranquility as he described his plans to spend his days fishing and basking in the island's serenity. "I have come to fish and enjoy my life," he said in a voice of contentment. I watched him curiously, not understanding all that he was saying. I wanted to find out more, but I wasn't sure how to ask, so I just nodded enthusiastically. "My name is Pierre. What is yours?" he asked me. "Hi, I'm Lainey," I replied, waving for no reason, my smile widening, my heart warmed by the nice feelings I was getting from our conversation. He pronounced my name wrong and gave me a kiss on each cheek. "Nice to meet you, Lenny. I will see you again soon." "It's Lainey, not Lenny." I wanted to correct him, but decided to let it slide for now, preferring to just savor the feeling of our delightful encounter. Pierre was tall and well built from a lifetime of climbing mountains. He was in his early 40s, and his dark hair was beginning to gray, and the wrinkles around his eyes spoke of a life filled with good times and laughter. He wore a distinctive French mustache that exuded confidence. As the diving season intensified, my days became consumed with teaching and guiding a growing number of students. The ebb and flow of tourism dictated my schedule, leaving little room to dwell on Mark's absence or ponder over the Frenchman and practice French. The Christmas holiday stretch was long, and it felt like I had spent 3 weeks non-stop in the water. In January, the tourists gradually returned home, and I finally found a moment to catch a breath on land. Seated at my usual spot on the rail, I wondered, where did that Frenchman disappear to? I want to practice my French. The answer to my question didn't keep me waiting for long. A few hours later, I saw him walking toward the shop unaccompanied, but carrying 2 5-gallon jerry cans of gasoline for his boat. Without hesitation, I leaped into the street and intercepted him. "Where have you been?" I greeted him in French with an eager smile. He responded with the same question, "Where have you been?" I answered him with a big sigh of exhaustion. "I've been diving, but now I finally have a break." In a spontaneous gesture, he invited me for a 7-Up at the bar across the street. We settled in at a table overlooking the turquoise blue water, where small waves were dancing over the reefs. Initially, my intent had been to engage him in conversation to improve my French, but as he unraveled more tales of his fascinating life, it ignited a spark within me. "I have a picture of an elephant rushing toward me," he boasted as he told me about his adventures camping in Africa. "Wow, weren't you afraid?" I asked him, my eyes widening with genuine curiosity. "The elephant will always try to intimidate you the first time. That is when you can take the picture. But don't test him for a second time," he laughed, his voice imbued with the wisdom of someone who had truly lived. In Kenya, the lions came around our tent, too, he recounted to me, his stories painting vivid images of his encounters with wild animals. As he spoke, I found myself hanging on to his every word, my own adventurous spirit resonating deeply with the tales of his daring exploits. He shared his entrepreneurial ventures, recounting a journey to Peru during the Civil War to purchase tapestries from the indigenous women. He also described the subsequent challenges of smuggling them from Peru to Ecuador for export to France. Then he narrated an incident in which he had lost a Belgian diplomat on a hike in Burkina Faso, and how he had to consult a sorcerer to locate him. I had to sacrifice a cow for the sorcerer, and then he told me where to find the Belgian diplomat. That story took me a while to understand. But the most difficult story to grasp was how he fell in an avalanche 400 meters and survived. So what brought you here to Roatan? I asked him. I came here to retire, he told me, but I'm also building 4 houses on West Bay Beach, he added, with an animated look on his face. You're building 4 houses? I repeated back to him. I had never met anyone who was building 4 houses. Yes, would you like to see them? Pierre asked me, sensing my curiosity. I can take you there by boat. Since my arrival in November, my world on the island had consisted of the dive shop, the dive boat, and the reef. I would love to come, I exclaimed in a rush of excitement, and I ran across the street to quickly gather my things. I'm leaving early today. Don't wait for me to close up, I shouted, and I turned to walk with Pierre toward his boat. Still carrying the 2 jugs of gasoline, I skipped cheerfully by his side. We stepped into the shallow water off the beach to board the boat. I felt the warm waves gently lapping at my ankles. I held my skirt up to keep it dry, unaware that I had lifted it too high until I caught a playful smile from Pierre. Oops, I thought. Pierre untied the boat from the dock and steered it along the shoreline. The engine's gentle hum accompanied us over the turtle grass, swaying beneath the clear water. We glided close to the beach for 10 minutes, where the water met the lush greenery of the shore. Sunlight shimmered on the waves, contrasting beautifully with the deep green foliage. As we turned a corner, a massive concrete dock came into view, jutting out from the shore and looking oddly out of place. Its stark, industrial look clashed with the natural tranquility around us, disrupting the peaceful spell of our journey. What is that giant dock doing here? I asked Pierre, squinting at the massive structure. That was built by the mayor of Roatan. It's horrible, he answered, his annoyance evident as he glanced at the eyesore. I wondered why the developer had been allowed to build something so out of place with the tropical decor, but it didn't say anything more. Past the giant dock, the green turtle grass water transformed into a crystal clear turquoise, revealing a sandy white beach framed by lush tropical jungle. While most of the wooden houses on the beach were discreetly hidden among the trees, barely noticeable, there was a single concrete development that stood in full view, contrasting the natural landscape. Welcome to West Bay. He waved his hand in the air. You can also get here by foot, walking along the shore. It will take around 40 minutes, he informed me. Pierre tossed the anchor onto the sandy floor and we both jumped out. He secured the boat with a rope to a nearby coconut tree. Just steps from the shoreline, we entered under a canopy of fruit trees. Sea grape trees stretched along the sand before reaching for the sky, accompanied by almond trees, coconut palms, and the island favorite cocoa plum. The sweet scent of ripe fruits created a fragrant and inviting atmosphere. The leaves rustled gently in the warm breeze, casting mottled shadows on the ground as we walked deeper into Pierre's property. Amidst the natural splendor, I discovered the foundations for 4 houses Pierre was building. We ascended the stairs to an unfinished terrace that had a direct view of the sea, where he outlined his plan to create stone terraces mixed with cement and natural pigmentation. Pierre was collaborating with a French artist because he firmly believed that artistic and creative endeavors would yield financial success. This is, Pierre declared, the art of living, capturing the essence of his life philosophy as he spread his arms wide to show me his property. I was in awe of this man, 14 years my senior, and I signed up that day to learn at the school of Pierre. Pierre invited me to stay for dinner. He cooked us a delicious meal, and we listened to diverse eclectic music and shared interesting conversations that took us traveling all over the world. My heart drew closer to him with each anecdote. After dinner, Pierre started to roll a joint, his fingers expertly working the paper. "Oh no," I said, a hint of concern in my voice as I watched him. "What, you don't smoke?" he asked, his eyebrows raised in curiosity. "No, I quit a year ago when I moved to Asia, and if I smoke now, I won't stop," I explained, feeling my determination waver. "But it's so good after a delicious meal, during such an interesting conversation," he said, his voice laced with temptation as he encouraged me to take a puff. "I know that," I sighed, feeling conflicted as I hesitantly inhaled my first joint in a year. The first hit is always the best, but it's downhill from there, and I resigned myself to the possibility of losing another battle with weed. That night left a lasting impression on me, and I couldn't resist the pull to return. After that unforgettable evening, I found myself retracing the path along the 40-minute stretch of beach most evenings after work, in search of more good food, more stories, and more weed. The days passed and my connection with Pierre deepened. My French was improving, and I was understanding him better with each conversation. As we spent more time together, our dialogue grew more relaxed and familiar. On one of those occasions, Pierre stretched back on the couch, smoking a joint, and began telling me a story about a mountain trek he had taken in France. "My daughter and I," he began, but I stopped him. "Excuse me, who?" I inquired. I had been visiting him regularly for 3 weeks, and he had never mentioned a daughter. "My daughter Melanie. She lives in France, and we went hiking together the last time I went to visit her," he said. "How old is Melanie?" I asked him. "She's 6 years old," he replied. "I see." I was pensive for a moment, and then I asked, "And her mother? Where does she live?" I wanted to be clear that I wasn't about to break apart a family. "Are you still together?" "She didn't want to live in Roatan, so she left. And she said she wasn't coming back," Pierre told me. "Have you broken up?" I continued to probe. "No, not officially. We haven't," he admitted. Okay. So she lives in France, you're living here on Roatan, and you're still in a relationship? I wanted to confirm the situation. "Yes, that is how it is," he answered me with a soft smile. "And what are you going to do?" I asked him. "About your relationship?" "Yes, I'm still thinking," he said pensively. After that conversation, I decided to maintain my distance in order to leave him space to make his own decision about Melanie's mother. But I continued to visit him with the pretext that I needed to practice my French. Every night after our visits, we took the 40-minute walk along the beach together, where Pierre introduced me to what he called lessons in walking in the dark. "The light just blinds you," he explained. "We don't need it. Walking in darkness heightens your senses." He believed that artificial light disrupted our natural sight, disconnecting us from the world around us. I was fascinated by everything he taught me, and we spent months getting to know each other, each evening walking along the rocky shore under the starry sky, guided only by the faint light of the moon and the twinkling stars above.